Was. He shivered again, but he was beginning to piece it all together. They had done it all right. The gringo bastards had finally won and had captured their prize. No revolt, no courageous fight, no freedom for his people. The lawman's long hunt had ended. His dream, his people's dream, of ultimate reprisal and a long-fought-for fulfillment was over. Or was it? He heard a horse whinny again. Now his ears more clearly picked up the sounds in the distance, the soft plucking of a guitar braided with hopeful notes from a fiddle, and a dull chattering of Spanish. Something was going on outside his jail wall. If only he could see what. He turned his eyes upward and looked disconsolately at the iron-barred window. He breathed deeply several times, drew a loud groan, and summoned the strength to roll over and struggle to his knees. He halted. The stinging pain caused him to gasp and hold still. He leaned his shoulder on the thick limestone wall for a moment. Then, slowly and painfully, he hobbled to his bare feet, palms and cheek pressed against the cold stone. The cot creaked under his weight. He groaned with it. Breathing hard, he reached up and grasped the iron bars with both hands and pulled as if his life depended on it. He could just barely get his eyes level with the window. Steadying himself and gaining a toehold on an imperfection in the limestone, he heaved upward another inch and gazed out into the drifting fog and saw dozens of silhouetted figures flickering in the firelight, some sitting, some standing, some dancing. It was a beautiful, intensely encouraging sight. He was not alone. He had not been abandoned. In all his suffering, he managed a small smile. Weakly clinging to the cold iron bars, he tried to think back to when he had last eaten. It had been a long time. He smelled a strong odor of whiskey on his tattered clothes and skin and tasted it on his breath. Why? But of course, he remembered now. That was several hours ago, perhaps half a day, maybe even more. Tiburcio didn't really know. But he now found himself somehow clinging to the frigid metal bars and staring out of his cell window at the preternatural scene outside, a jailhouse vigil in the fog, keeping the revolutionary fire stoked. Newly inspired by the thought of his people caring so much about this helpless prisoner, and holding true to the revolution with enough fervor to spend several days and nights bivouacked outside his jail cell, Tiburcio summoned the strength and shouted, "Compadres! Amigos!" At first, just a few heads looked up to find out who had spoken. Tiburcio strained to raise his voice. "Aquí! Aquí!" Several more people stopped what they were doing to try to locate the speaker, determined to address his followers before the guards came running down the corridor to swoop in and beat him up. He drew a deep breath and called loudly again, "Compadres! Amigos!" He heard people hushing others in the crowd. Soon the music and conversation died down. Tiburcio saw dozens of figures approaching the jail wall. They stopped 20 feet from his cell window. "It's Tiburcio!" several people cried out. "It's El Capitan!" "Listen, mi compadres," he barked to the gathering crowd below. "I may be wounded, I may be caged, but I, Tiburcio Vasquez, am alive. I am well, and I am stirred by your love and loyalty, my countrymen. I promise that as long as you are willing, I will never let our 20-year struggle on behalf of thousands of wronged Californios, citizens like you and me, languish and die. I know you are counting on me to lead our revolt against the Yankee invaders, and I am counting on you to keep the fire burning in each and every one of us. Are we going to let La Revolucion die out? Hell no. They said they are going to hang you, yelled a voice, not fatalistic, not worried, but proud and defiant. No jailhouse has ever held Tiburcio Vasquez locked up, and none ever will, their leader answered back. I will soon be free. We as a people will soon be liberated. The time is near, very near. Have faith, and long live the revolution. Tiburcio crumbled onto the cot and fell unconscious as the guards rushed into the cell. He spent the next 2 days confused, trembling, and battling a high fever. The crowd on the free side of the limestone wall grew stronger in numbers and remained faithful to their captive leader. In his state of delirium, however, Tiburcio only saw crystal-clear visions of his joyous youth and lived in the simple pleasures of a pastoral life of 20 years ago. He existed only in a dream of glorious fiestas, open land, golden palominos, and most beautiful of all, Anita.